Ukraine's call for more military help will reportedly be met with a controversial response. Reports say the U.S. will give Ukraine a weapon that's been banned by Canada and other Ukrainian allies: cluster munitions. U.S. media outlets say the cluster munitions would be compatible with howitzers like these, American or NATO-made 155mm guns. Modern heavy artillery equipment and ammunition given to Ukraine by Canada and other allies is seen as crucial to Ukraine's counteroffensive. But the Biden administration's reported decision to send cluster munitions would be a first. It's unclear if any NATO countries would put restrictions on using the weapon in heavy guns they have provided to Ukraine. Just last hour, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg didn't take a direct position when asked about the U.S. decision.
Cluster munitions are used by both sides. And Russia used cluster munitions in their brutal war aggression to invade another country, while Ukraine is using it to defend itself.
Magda Gebrselassie leads off our coverage for us this morning on this story. She joins us now. So Magda, let's start with these cluster munitions. What do we know about this weapon?
Well, this controversial weapon works by breaking apart to spread a cluster of explosive devices over a large area. But those scattered devices, they don't always explode, which poses a risk to civilians, sometimes even for years. So U.S. officials say Russia has been using these weapons. There are reports that Ukraine has used them too. And now you have numerous media outlets saying that President Joe Biden has agreed to supply Ukraine with these weapons, and that announcement is reportedly coming today, which the Pentagon is not confirming. Now, yesterday, Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder was asked about the dud rate of these weapons and the potential for them to harm civilians. Here's what he had to say.
We would be carefully selecting rounds with lower dud rates, for which we have recent testing data. And the ones that we are considering providing would not include older variants with dud rates that are higher than 2.35%.
Now, U.S. law doesn't allow for these kinds of weapons to be transferred or sold to other countries if the dud rate is higher than 1%. But the media reports say that Biden will go around this to get this done.
Magda, we were listening earlier to NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg offering what could probably be called a bit of a non-answer response on this issue. Where does the rest of the world stand on these cluster munitions?
Well, many countries don't support the use of them. There's more than 100 countries that are part of the Convention on Cluster Munitions. So these countries are against keeping these weapons, transferring them, and using them. Canada is one of those countries that signed the treaty. The U.S., Russia, and Ukraine did not. And while a deal like this could really help Ukraine fight back against Russia, the risks are too high, according to this global affairs analyst that is in Ukraine. Take a listen.
Having been a former spokesperson for UNICEF, I can't say I'm too thrilled about it, because what happens, these bombs drop little bomblets. Some of them are mistaken as toys, picked up by children with devastating consequences. So there's got to be other ways to push back the Russians. This one shouldn't be at the top of the list.
We know that groups like Human Rights Watch have been calling on both Russia and Ukraine to stop using these weapons, but clearly that's not happening. And now, according to these reports, the U.S. will be providing Ukraine with these weapons. So we'll stay tuned and see when this announcement comes down.